Hello, my name is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. I want to introduce you to something called cold anger versus hot anger. I came on here with I came on here with an idea. By the time I got over to hit go live, I had a second idea. And then I wrote down cold anger and had a third idea. So I just might cram all of these three topics into one video. Anger, people think, is hot anger, and this is not true. So I am setting an example by literally showing you what it looks like. Right now, I am angry. Oh, I am very angry right now. I found a meme on Facebook. How many of y'all can admit you talk to yourself? This is what I wrote. Most of us do. Like 100% of people do this. We see toddlers doing this all the time when they make believe. Until our society and parents mock us for it. This is perspective abuse that teaches us communication is not safe. Talking to yourself is normal, healthy, and common. It is a healthy communication practice that teaches us to define ourselves and our identity. It teaches us how to articulate our ethics, loves, beliefs, and boundaries. And memes like this continue shaming people for this very healthy and needed practice. I was going to elaborate on that, but that pretty much summed it up. So I don't have to. And that's when I realized cold anger. The emotion anger is healthy, very healthy. It makes us step up and enforce to protect. I want to say those words again. Enforce to protect. That is my definition of anger. Enforce to protect. Now, you're protecting yourself. And to enforce, to do this, you require boundaries and the art of communication with an unblocked throat chakra. Our throat chakras are the first things to be destroyed and taken away from us because we are mocked at a very young age that we talk to ourselves. And that destroys the throat chakra. That absolutely destroys it. I have a dear friend of mine who is a music teacher, not in a school. He's in New York City. So he teaches singers how to sing. And I talked to him about the psychology of my trauma. I was beaten for singing. So I sought out a throat coach. Well, he's my dear friend. So when I found out he was a throat coach, I went nuts and went, oh, I would love to talk to you. I love that I'm calling him a throat coach. That's really what it is. And I explained my trauma, and he said to me, I hear that all the time. Every time we open our throats to sing, how many of you got abused? How many of you were mocked and laughed at because you didn't sing pretty? I'm going to cry. We are musical, creative beings. We all must sing. So I am angry. Now, when you feel anger, you are supposed to enforce to protect. But this was taken away from us. We were taught that it's not safe. So our core defense mechanism, our voices, and The Little Mermaid really, really hits home with me. When she had her voice taken away, that really hit a spot with me. I didn't understand it. I have had a horrific phobia most of my life that I don't talk to people about because it scares me that much. I was arachnophobic and I was claustrophobic. I can say the words to you. Claustrophobic, arachnophobia. This phobia is so severe, was so severe, that I couldn't even say it out loud. I don't even know if it has a name. It is a fear of a mouth being closed. Anytime I saw an invisible mouth, anytime I saw someone's taped mouth, zipper mouth, chained mouth, Hannibal Lecter's mouth cage, a muzzle, ball gag, anything. I had such a severe phobia and mental reaction. I couldn't even begin to explain it or even talk about it out loud until right now. My voice was taken away from me so strongly and so violently that I developed this unidentified, untalked about phobia. There are many Doctor Who episodes where people's faces are taken from them, or worse, their entire mouth is sealed off. I stutter. My core started stuttering because I spoke my truth. I'm a vegetarian, and I think killing animals is wrong. And that resulted in a trauma so severe that at 8 years old, I had a gun pointed at me, and the rejection and abandonment of every man in my family. And that was so traumatic that I woke up the next morning with my entire personality split. And then I proceeded to live the next 38 years in the fourth level of my subconscious mind. When I got out, I stuttered. And when I talk about this particular trauma, I still stutter. Because of the memory. And by transferring all of this over to voice, I proved to myself that I can talk. So I started podcasting because I needed to see for myself that I can talk. Our voices mean something, and I'm going to talk to you about what they mean. Our voices channel our identity. Channeling is accessing and then being able to, like a microphone, not a microphone, those big ones, a megaphone, like a megaphone. So our voices are the megaphones of our identity. 2, our voices define us. 3, through power of articulation, you reach understanding, comprehension, defense, Isn't it interesting that the word defense and definition are very similar? We have to practice talking. It is the most vital skill that we should be developing in our lives, and no one is. Very, very few people master the art of communication. We associate communication with professions. This is your reality check? No. No. I really need you all to listen to me. Communication is a skill like walking is a skill. Yeah. Does anyone walk around going, oh, I'm not good at walking, I'm going to need to hire somebody? No. Because we all practice it and we all just do it. Those who cannot have assistance to help them. Communication is your throat. Communication is a skill that is more important than walking. Stephen Hawking. Communication should be a skill we master at 5 years old, just like walking is mastered by 5 years old. I need you to expand your mind. There are levels of communication that you don't get to without practice. Every one of us suffers from a communication disorder. I'm not giving this thing a name. Yes, I am, because I want naming rights, and because if I don't name it, some jackass will come along and fuck this up. All right, I gotta call this thing something. Oh, God, I hate this part of this. I hate this part. This is a behavioral defense. Communication, not talking, is a behavioral defense. I want you to imagine a world where every time you stood up on your legs, you were beaten. I want you to imagine a world where every time you stood up on your legs, you were mocked. I want you to imagine a world where when a child walks into a room, you hear the phrase, children should crawl and not walk. That is what the society has done to us. So we're all crawling and no one's questioning it. No one is saying, why aren't we running? This video you are watching was intended for my master class today. I do classes like this every day in my master class for 8 weeks. I do my workshops like this. Did your perspective just shift? That is what I call shifting perspectives. Now, I want you to think on what that felt like for a minute. I want you to just sit on the feeling right here. This is called your frontal cortex. Right here. You felt something. It was the feeling, the emotion, epiphany. That is what I teach people. I know how to shift your perspective. So you go from sitting in your perspective to standing outside of it so you can see the big picture. And I show you the big picture. And then I do it again, and then I do it again, and then I do it again. And I teach you how to do this so you can shift perspectives, literally like hopscotch, until you get to where you need to get into your situation so you can assess your own bullshit that other people conditioned into you. Now you can heal. That is where you can start pulling out. It's amazing. Once you learn how to do this, all you have to do is look at your entire personality in a matter of minutes and go, oh, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And you can just weed the garden. And literally you can just pick out each and every toxic belief that was ever fed into you. You can see every definition of love that someone else crammed into you. You can see every ethic that was forced into you through religion, abuse. Communication is everything. And we have all had our voices taken away from us at infancy with that stupid phrase, children should be seen and not heard. And in our heads, we're still all children. We never grew up because we were also conditioned that it's not safe to grow. So we're all still children. Silent, obedient children. Because that is the perspective we were abused. That was the perspective we were given to obey. It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 60 or 80 or 20 or 30. This is why adults have tantrums. It's because adults are children. Because we received 2 solid toxic beliefs. The first toxic belief we received is communication is not safe. And the second one is it's not safe to grow. So we're still children, stuck in stages 2, 3, and 4 perspective. You want to know who is 2, 3, and 4 perspective? 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 4-year-olds. If we had evolved properly, by the time we were 8 years old, we would have the communication and articulation skills of this. This is what most 8-year-olds should sound like if they were left to communicate freely and talk to themselves. And it starts with anger. Because anger, cold anger, is enforcing to protect. And you can't do that unless and until you master your throat chakra and your ability to communicate. I offer free communication classes and workshops on Facebook every Saturday. This is how important this is to me. You have to be registered. I have the link below, and we'll go ahead and get you set up. But we must overcome our fear of communication, because if we don't, nothing is going to change. And that is what I see every time any client comes to me. I see somebody crawling on their belly, telling me all of their problems, and I'm looking at them going, why don't you walk? Why aren't you walking? Communication is not something that some people just can't do. This is a societal bullshit lie. You were gaslit by a society. We all were. I have a list of all of them. Societal gaslights are things like anytime you hear the word normal, there you go. No, it's not normal. No one here knows what normal looks like because no one here is healthy. No one here has any idea what normal looks like because very, very few people are at optimum mental wealth. When you are at optimum mental wealth, then you can talk about what's normal, what it should be. But we got a lot of really mentally sick people advising other people what should and shouldn't be, and we're all copying them instead. There's a Doctor Who episode about this, actually. Are You My Mummy? So when you reach optimum mental health, you get to that point where you realize a lot of the toxic beliefs you have is actually societal gaslighting, religious gaslighting, parental gaslighting. Gaslighting is perspective abuse. Gaslighting is anybody coming to you and saying, your perspective is wrong. Let me show you something. The word wrong and the word right brings into the concept of morals, bad and good, ethical. So if I have a point of view, the sky is gray, I am reflecting my opinion. But when you respond with things like, you're wrong, it's blue, well, wait a minute. The word wrong implies we're now talking, the word wrong implies that we are talking off of fact. And we're not talking off of fact because the eyesight is different for every person. Ask a blind person. Ask someone who's colorblind. What one person sees as blue, another person sees as gray. So now the concept of right and wrong is absolutely subjective. This is how horrible we are at our communication, that we make errors like that all the time, and we're oblivious to the errors because we have not fine-tuned our communication. Societal gaslights hold us inside a very specific perspective. And the perspective we are being forced inside of is never our own. And the perspective that we are being forced inside of very much reflects, the patriarchy and the two-party political system that's in charge and the Christian religions. And every one of these has a list of societal gaslighting that they come with. Every one of them has a list of rules that you must fit into in order to be normal. And in order to accept those boxes, those rules, and that fitting in so you belong, it's going to cost you something. It is going to cost you your identity. So you have to choose now between belonging or identity. However, our subconscious mind is from the Ice Age. So it's going to choose belonging over identity. There's a problem. It is the year 2023. It is not the Ice Age anymore. So identity is actually at a point where we need her more than we need belonging. The best thing is, once we actually start revealing our identities and realizing where we are the same authentically, we gain a new type of belonging. We gain an authentic belonging. Feed that to your subconscious mind. Authentic belonging is when you are with a group of people who are authentically like you. So you can be yourself and they can be themselves. This is authentic belonging. The faux belonging or the misplaced belonging is our family, our friends that reflect the Ice Age perspective. the whichever perspective I need to fit into so I can make sure that somebody likes me. That's faux belonging. So it's really, really important that when we think about where we belong, we are focused on our authentic belonging. That way, we can coexist with our identity. And that's the problem. We are not coexisting with our identity. We are choosing between belonging for safety and our identity. And that's the problem. That is absolutely the problem. So now you have people coming to me wanting help, wanting to not feel afraid, not wanting to fit in, wanting to feel something. But they think their problem is they just need to focus. They need an entire mental metamorphosis. This is life transformation because you've built your entire life around a societal expectation. That's it. Societal expectation, government expectation, parental, religion expectation is what you have used to define your identity. Not the self, not love. You have to choose between expectations or love. Because what you love is who you are. And expectations is what the society and your parents and your religion and your government all says you should be. So that's it. Where do you fit? Are you living to the expectations of others, or are you living to what you love? Or do you feel like you have to choose? Well, I'm going to lose where I belong if I choose identity and love. But you can have both with authentic belonging. Sign up for my masterclass. I will show you exactly how to do it in 8 weeks. That's what I do. So for more shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. For even more shit like this, subscribe to my newsletter. And if you can't get enough shit like this, text me. Change now at 929-615-4244. And I will start walking you through all of the options we have available to you to start reviving your identity so that you can coexist with authentic belonging. Thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.